The 911 call came in at 3:47 p.m. on what should have been just another regular Tuesday. You know, the kind sun shining, birds out. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? Except before the coffee could even go cold, a woman's high-pitched voice was screaming through the dispatcher's headset about a trespassing child in Willowbrook Estates, which for anyone not from around here is basically where people pay extra so their neighbors can spy on them from behind 4-inch thick curtains. So naturally, within minutes, 2 patrol cars come barreling into our pretty little suburban enclave. And the next thing you know, people are peeking out windows, phones out, narrating the play-by-play like it's the Super Bowl. And what did the cops find? A crime scene? A lost kid, maybe? Nope, my 7-year-old daughter, Emma, drawing a mess of chalk flowers on our own driveway, while a woman who looked like she'd just come straight from yelling at a barista was pointing, practically foaming at the mouth, and demanding my kid be cuffed and hauled off. I wish I was kidding. But let me back up a second so you see just how we ended up with squad cars in the driveway over sidewalk chalk. My name's Marcus Thompson, and for the past 8 years I've been the sheriff in this county. Yeah, the guy with the badge, the one who gets called when something actually goes wrong. 6 months ago, after my divorce, I figured my daughter and I could use a clean slate, so we moved to Willowbrook Estates, beautiful trees, great schools, and supposedly the friendliest neighbors around. What I didn't know was that this place came with a self-appointed Queen Patricia, call me Patty Hastings, the HOA president, who's made a second career out of ruining people's days. Around here, Patty is both a legend and a warning. That Tuesday, I was actually home for once, trying to make Emma's new room feel less like a moving box warehouse and more like home. She asked if she could play outside, and I told her, sure, just stay where I could see her from the window. I'm putting up shelves, and next thing I know, Emma's out front, ponytail swinging, turning our driveway into a riot of color with her chalk pure harmless kid stuff. Then all of a sudden I hear this staccato click of heels on pavement. Here comes Patricia, looking like she's storming Omaha Beach, except her helmet is a helmet of blonde hair pulled back so tight it could bounce a quarter. She marches right up to Emma and starts going off, hands on hips, mouth flapping at a mile a minute, finger wagging like she's conducting an orchestra of disappointment. By the time I get to the front door, Patricia's already got her phone out, ranting into it about unaccompanied minors and suspicious activity. Emma comes running up to me, tears in her eyes, whispering that the mean lady said she wasn't allowed to play outside and that she was calling the cops. I knelt down, told Emma it'd be okay, and told her to keep drawing while I took care of this circus. Patricia, meanwhile, starts pacing the sidewalk, shouting into her phone about parental negligence. I walk up, introduce myself as Emma's dad and the homeowner, but Patricia barely glances at me. Instead, she hits me with the HOA bylaws claims kids can't play unsupervised, quotes, section 12.4, like she's reciting the Bill of Rights. I point out as nicely as I can muster that Emma is on our own driveway, not the common area, and Patricia scoffs. She needs proof of ownership before she'll believe it. Then, as if this wasn't enough, she starts snapping pictures of my kid without asking. That's where I draw the line. I tell her firm but polite to knock it off, but she waves me away, chirping that she's documenting violations for the HOA board and, of course, the police. Sure enough, 2 patrol cars roll up. I recognize the officers, Deputy Rodriguez and Deputy Chen, both good folks, both worked under me for years. They walk up trying to look neutral, but Patricia practically tackles them, yelling about trespassing, child neglect, the whole 9 yards. She points at Emma like she's caught the Unabomber. Rodriguez sees me, and there's this moment his hand drops from his belt. His whole body language goes from tense to, "Are you serious right now?" I flash my badge, casual but clear. Patricia's still rambling when Rodriguez clears his throat, asks to hear everyone's side. She beams, thinking she's finally won, and launches into her greatest hits. Neighborhood standards, safety concerns, duty as HOA president. I just let her talk, watching the deputy's eyebrows rise with every accusation. Finally, Rodriguez turns to me, calls me Sheriff Thompson, real official. That's when Patricia's jaw hits the driveway. She stutters, backpedals, claims she didn't know, but the damage is done. I explain what happened, lay out the facts. Emma was on our property. Patricia harassed her, took pictures without permission, and filed a false police report. Chen pulls out his tablet, starts logging everything while Patricia pivots, says she's just being vigilant. Crime's on the rise, can't be too careful. I ask what crime exactly my kid's committing with chalk. No answer. She jumps to HOA rules instead. At this point, the neighbors start gathering Mr. Williams from across the street, Mrs. Chen from 2 doors down, even a young couple I hadn't met before. Turns out Patricia's made a hobby of terrorizing the whole block, birthday parties, Lunar New Year decorations, even fining a couple for their baby crying too loud. Mrs. Chen's got her phone out, recording everything as Patricia's voice gets higher and louder. Now I pull Rodriguez aside, ask him to check how often Patricia's called 911 in the past year. His eyes go wide. 47 calls in 12 months, all for trivial stuff, grass half an inch too tall, cars facing the wrong way, you name it. False reporting is serious in our county. I inform Patricia she'll be getting a citation for misuse of emergency services, and you'd think I just told her yacht sank. She threatens lawsuit, says her husband's a lawyer, claims she's protected as HOA president. I explain gently but firmly that none of that matters when you're harassing neighbors and wasting police resources. Right then, she tries to approach Emma again, finger out, blaming her for starting all this. That's when my professional calm snaps. I step in, drop my sheriff's voice, tell Patricia if she so much as looks at my daughter again, she'll be facing harassment charges. Rodriguez and Chen move in, making it clear who's actually in charge. Neighbors, now emboldened, start sharing their own stories, offering statements, everyone fed up. Deputy Chen finishes writing the citation, $5,000 thanks to her history, and Mr. Williams turns out he's a retired judge. Mentions the HOA board could be liable for allowing this behavior to continue. He's already calling other board members. And within half an hour, there's an emergency meeting set up on his front lawn because Patricia still has the keys to the usual spot. Even her own allies have had enough. The vote to suspend her is unanimous. The financial hits come fast: legal fees, potential civil suits, 3 restraining orders from neighbors. Word spreads quick. Patricia's employer, a dental office, hears about her antics and puts her on leave. The judge at her arraignment, yes, it moves that fast, here sets bail at $10,000 and tells her she can't contact any witnesses, meaning she's pretty much persona non grata on her own street. Her husband, who really is a real estate lawyer, is pale as a ghost, apologizing left and right, promising Patricia will never be involved in the HOA again. And so as the sun sets over Willowbrook Estates, Patricia Queen Karen Hastings is officially dethroned, standing on the courthouse steps, heels clacking, defeated, with nothing but her husband's hand gripping her arm and the very real possibility of 30 to 90 days in county jail. She glances back at me, not with hate this time, but with something closer to fear, or maybe finally a bit of humility, mouth opening like she wants to say something, then closing again as her husband hurries her away, whispering about silence and lawyers and, for once, consequences. But you know what? As neighbors gathered, swapping stories and planning the next HOA election, I realized this wasn't just about my kid and some chalk. It was about standing up to bullies, about community, about drawing a line, literally and figuratively. Now, some folks say Patricia got what she deserved. Others wonder if it was too much. But that's the thing with justice, it always stirs up debate. So tell me, what would you have done in my shoes? Was it right to go all in, or should we have just let it go? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear how you'd handle a real-life Karen showdown, because honestly, in today's world, you never know who's watching or who's next in line for a taste of their own medicine.